Hey, what's up? This is Von Doom 92. This is kind of like my introduction video to the Trash Talking Circle. A little bit about me. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I've been a Broncos fan since I was a little kid. Ever since they were, John Elway did the drive on the Browns. I think I kind of picked my team from there. I remember the first poster that I got, was at school when I was in elementary school, and it was John Elway on the front of the poster, and there was encyclopedias in front of him, and it said, "Good quarterbacks don't just read defenses," which, I still got the poster to this day. But I figured that today would be, good as time as any to kind of introduce myself, because, we have, the draft coming up, obviously free agents still going on, and, we'll have training camps and all that kind of stuff. So, there's, especially with the Broncos, there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, with today, it's official. Peyton Manning signed a 5-year, $96 million contract. So I'll give you some thoughts on that. I'll give you some thoughts on, Tim Tebow, obviously, and, hopefully what we can finish up in, free agency to kind of shore up this team for 2012. So, again, I'm 32 years old. I live in Ohio. So I'm a Ohio State fan and a Denver Broncos fan. So just a little bit odd pair. I get a lot of crap from the old Cleveland Browns fans. A lot of my friends are Browns fans for, basically, not rooting for Cincinnati or Cleveland. So it's definitely a state that, they're diehard. It's like they're either diehard Browns, Bengals, or even Steelers. So I do kind of go against the grain a little bit when it comes to that. So first off, again, Peyton Manning, today it's officially signed a 5-year, $96 million contract. So my thoughts on that, first off, is something to note, that it is a protected contract. So it does protect the Broncos in the case that Peyton Manning were to get hurt with the same neck injury or something comparable to it. We will be paying him $18 million for the 2012 season. He's set to make, I think, a little around 20 for the 2013 and 2014 season, as long as he checks out. So, yeah, he is the highest paid player in the NFL now. We had almost around $50 million, in the salary cap. So we're not, hurting in that aspect. I'll be honest with you, when we started chasing Peyton Manning, I was a little frustrated. Not frustrated because I didn't want Manning, but I just, I started to feel, until yesterday, that we were really wasting our time going after him, and we were missing out on a lot of the other free agents that we could have signed. But football is a patient game. A lot of teams will, build through the draft and, sign key pieces into free agency, whatever's needed. And that's what I ultimately hope we would do. I do have, we do have the 25th pick. I've seen some mock drafts. The most scary mock draft had us getting Wheaton from Oklahoma State, and I did not want him. A 28-year-old quarterback. Just reminded me of a lot of the situation with Chris Weinke, when he was drafted by the Panthers. I just didn't want that situation, and I think that because we have Manning now, that we're not going to go in that situation. And I'll give you a little bit of what I think we're going to do. When it comes to that situation. So yeah, Peyton Manning signed the 5-year, $96 million contract. I think it's very fair. You have a Peyton Manning that is probably arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the position. Yeah, he's getting up there in age. He's 36 years old, or he will be here in a couple days. But I'm not really worried about that. I think that we have a very stable line. I love our offensive line, to be honest with you. We have Ryan Clady at the left tackle position, which is just, a phenomenal tackle, Pro Bowler, multiple Pro Bowler. We have Cooper. We have Beatles. We have J.D. Walton at center, which I kind of hope we do upgrade. I hope we do bring in Saturday, not only because he is an upgrade over Walton, because he was one of our weakest, links off or offensive line, but he can teach. He can mentor Walton. He can help him out with Peyton Manning, because I think Peyton Manning will be here 3 or 4 years. And I'll get to what my expectations and goals are for the Broncos. So yeah, we have him. We just drafted Orlando Franklin from Miami last year in the 2nd round. I really like him. He was inconsistent a bit, but I think with 1 year under his belt, I think he's gonna shine. The Broncos in 2012 were the only team to start all 5-star, offensive linemen, every game. So that's very, assuring. So we do have a good, run offense as well. We have, obviously Willis McGahee, which did really well for us. We'll see how much gas he has left in his tank. We also have no Sean Moreno. He's been kind of a bust lately. Or he's been kind of considered a bust to some, and I think that as long as we can keep him healthy, I think he's going to be a great 2nd running back. I still think we need to go after another one, whether it be trade and get Jonathan Stewart now that they signed Tolbert. The Panthers signed Tolbert. He'll be on the market, and also there's some good running backs in the upcoming draft that I really like. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get Richardson unless we trade up. I do like Doug Martin. Like Lamar Miller from Miami. I think both of those are really good, could be really good picks. I think, we could probably wait and get LaMichael James from Oregon, Chris Polk from Washington. I think that there are some value picks in there. It just depends on what we do with them and how far we rate those guys. Going to our running back, I think that that's probably one position we do need to go after, whether it be in the free agency, signing. I don't know if Michael Bush is signed yet. I know he had a couple other visits, and the thing about it is running backs, they didn't go that fast. There wasn't a lot of talk about that. So we'll see what happens with that. See if we do sign a guy. I know Lance Ball is on the free agency market. I really don't want to bring him back, to be honest with you. He was decent, but he's not a guy that I want on the team. He had a lot of inconsistency last year. So we'll see what we do with that. Our wide receivers. Our wide receiver core is good. And I'm being realistic about this. I'm not happy we lost Royal, but I think that, we would have had to overpay for him. And I'm happy we didn't do that. I love Demaryius Thomas. I think he's going to be a, premier wide receiver. I would suggest going after him in fantasy football this year. I think he's going to have good numbers. He did a lot for Tebow, and I think he's going to do even more for Peyton Manning. I love Decker. I think he's a good, slot receiver. So that's, beyond that, I don't really like a bunch of our receivers. And then we re-signed Jason Jones in February. Matt Willis. Anything, below that is just kind of a drop-off. Matt Willis is a good special teams player. I like him, in that role. We definitely need to bring in wide receivers. Now, there have been rumors. Now, this would be my biggest. I think this would be my biggest want if we were able to do this. I would love to be able to use that 1st-round pick and sign Mike Wallace, because he is a restricted free agent, meaning that if we do sign him and Pittsburgh has an opportunity to match his tender with a tender, and if they can't, then we have to give up our 1st-round draft pick. Mike Wallace is an instant game changer. I mean, the guy can stretch the field. He's one of the fastest wide receivers, arguably right up there with Deshaun Jackson. He's only in his 2nd year. He's been in the league for 2 years. This guy is phenomenal. We have a lot of Pittsburgh games up here in Ohio, so I've been able to watch him a lot. Beginning of the season, he really really shined. During the halfway point is when the team started to pick up, and they started to double team, which opened, if you follow fantasy football or the Steelers, you know that Antonio Brown kind of had a breakout year. That's because a lot of the times they were double teaming Mike Wallace. This guy, people say, well, he's inconsistent. This guy could instantly change our team. I think that getting Mike Wallace would be absolutely phenomenal. And to be honest with you, Pittsburgh doesn't have a cap to sign him. I mean, they have a little bit left. Even after Broncos sign Peyton Manning, we still have tons of money left over. So being able to sign him, offer him make him like Mayock said. He even said the same thing. Make him a rich young man. Offer him, a 4 or 5 year deal that Pittsburgh just cannot afford to match. We will not be overpaying for this guy. Yeah, we could wait another year and get him in, once he hits a free agency market, but I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to let that happen. They've already said they wanted to re-sign him. They've restructured deals to try to be able to keep guys like him. He instantly makes us better. Imagine Demaryius Thomas on one side, Mike Wallace on the other side, Decker in the slot, and I guess I was getting to my next point.